How about now? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Okay, my mic's working. Yay. Okay, so um, we just got back from Evo. Evo is a tournament that Tony and I run every year, and now that we're back, we're like all on Stonehearth, which is exciting. So we've been. Oh, this is a flash stream. I was just explaining it before, but my mic went dead, or it wasn't even turned on. So I just decided to start streaming. So this is not going to be so much about Q&A, but if you guys just want to watch me work, we can do that. I'll try to answer some questions, but it's really about me just working and you guys get to watch me. So this is like the state of the game as it's in right now. We've done a lot of revamping of the UI, you can see, and it's still in flux, so don't take any of this like super literally. You can see like we're redoing the way we do names. So right now everyone's named Civilian, but whatever. So the job at hand is to do something with this clock. So what I'm doing is I'm doing the very beginnings of a day-night cycle and having all the things that accompany that, like guys who go to sleep or whatever else. And the first part of that is adding a clock. So I did that, and I'll show you kind of how it works. But the clock is super boring. It's just like, this text display of what's going on. So the job at hand is to turn that into a more graphical display. Let's see. And you guys, I gave some of you homework to, let's see. Wow, I'm bringing up the Google. Yeah, I'm doing it. I gave you guys homework to brainstorm on this thing because we need a graphical display for time, and I've got some ideas, but I want to hear yours too. So let's just like resize the Google and go to stonehearth.net. Let's see what you guys came up with. Go to the forum, and here's the flash screen notification. Okay, so blah 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 blah. Whoa. Okay, so is that it? Just one? Let's see. Okay, so Voxel Pirate came up with some stuff. Sun and Moon icon. Yeah. Huh. Okay. Something like that. Yeah. So something like a clock, right? Yeah, that's kind of along the lines that I was thinking, but like I don't like these circular displays because this is Stonehearth and everything should be a square. So we're just gonna like brainstorm. And I have an idea in mind, and you guys can let me know what you think. Okay, so, wow, what's that? This is my Cintiq. For the first time ever, you guys get to see my Cintiq. It's not that impressive. It's like every other one. But I'm just going to like sketch out some ideas. And let's see if I have everything right. So, okay, so like there are lots of different things we could do. Like the common thing that you see is like this kind of an idea of an astronomical clock that's like way too dark. Let's make my brush smaller. Yeah, like an astronomical clock, and it's got like a sun on it, and this is what Voxel Pirate had, right? And it's got like a moon or something, and they kind of like go around. I don't like these because they're round, and this is Stonehearth, and they should be square. And I thought for a while, like, can you make this like a square? But it's kind of weird because like the sun goes around in a square, and that's just crazy. And it's kind of hard to tell like what's going on with this. And then like another idea that I had was like to basically just, let's just call it borrow Warcraft 3's clock, and they had like, because Warcraft 3 had a day-night cycle, they had these bubbles, right? And they had like, whatever, if it's nighttime, they had like a big moon in here, so it's night. And then these guys just sort of filled in, right? So and I like this kind of display because it's like super clear, like how close you are from day to night, or how much day or how much night you have left. But again, this is a circle. And I tried like screwing around with like, well, can you turn it into a square thing? But then it just gets too techy. It looks like a circuit board, right? This is like no good. So I think I'm settling upon the idea of like, I like this concept of a meter, right? So you have like a meter that like fills up because it's like really easy to understand, really easy to see. Oh, for those of you who just tuned in, I am working on day-night cycle, and the start of day-night cycle is having a concept of time, which is in the game, and now we have to come up with a display to show time. I just want to take a break from coding and do some art, so that's what we're doing. So we're trying to figure out what that widget looks like. And what I think I'm gravitating towards is something that looks like a meter, right? We'll draw a small version, but like something that's a little more interesting than just a straight meter, right? Like we'll give it some like whatever, some decoration or something so that it's fancy, and give some kind of like big indicator like up top, like whether it's day or night, right? So in this case, maybe it's day, and there's this sun thing. But essentially, it's a meter that just kind of like drains, right? It starts off full, and then like drains. So it'll go like from 100% full, and these will be like yellow or something. And then when it goes like to night, it'll fill up again, right? This is the same thing. This is super rough, right? And then it'll be like nighttime, right? That's supposed to be a moon. Wow. Watch. That's really cold, man. That's really cold. Okay, I think I just set the mic in the wrong place. That might be better. I am using. This is not my mouse. I have a Cintiq. It's the best purchase ever. It saves a lot of time. Okay, so I'm just gonna like sketch out this meter, and I'm using the Shift key to like get some straight lines here. And the idea is first I'm gonna sketch it, and then we'll make like a Photoshop version, and then we're gonna cut it up and put it into the game. Like, if we can get through all that, then we are going to have a rockin' time. Okay, so I don't know. So at the basics, the very basics are we've got like this meter here, right? And I like having these thick borders. This might be too stiff. I might need to like really loosen this up. Just drawing with all these horizontal lines. Okay, and then we're going to want like some kind of so that's one option, is to just have it straight up like a meter, right? Maybe we could do something more interesting, like make it like we could put some kind of like the big graphical element here, which is the sun or the moon, and then wrap the meter around it like, I don't know, this is kind of a curve, and I don't like curves, but do something like this, right? So it's at least a little bit interesting, right? And that's not bad, because then we can put like other things here, like maybe like the day and the month, right? I don't know. Right, so there's another option. I mean, here, like, we'd put like the sun or the moon probably up top, like up here or something, and overlap it just to give it a little bit more interest visually. Right, and then like something like, I don't know, something simple on either end. You know what, this one isn't bad. I kind of like this one. Like this one. It's the worst arrow ever. Have you considered making a cub? A cub? Like a bear cub? What? A cube! You forgot the E. Okay. A cube that's painted with different parts of the day that spins. Yeah, the problem with that is that it's like if you have like a cube. Let's get rid of this curvy one because it's not right for Stonehearth. I get what you're saying. Like maybe you have like an isometric cube, right? Like this, right? And like this is like the sun, and this is the moon or something, and the sucker like spins around like this. I get it, but like it's, to me it's like if it's hard to tell. It's too analog. It's like, what time is it? Okay, here it's probably, this is noon, right? Or what is this? Actually, what is this? This is like so this is probably like 6 o'clock or something, right? Between, it's dusk, right? But what time is like, if we did something like, Wow, this is not impressive drawing skills. But what time is this, right? This is like 4:30 or something, and it's kind of tough to read. And I just like for something, because we're not going to give you like super cues. Like it's not like you could. Well, we don't even want you to pan up to the sky to see what time it is constantly, and we don't want to put a digital clock on there because that's just not fantasy at all. I really like the idea of like a meter, right? So if it's like here, right, and it's depleting, like so this part is empty, right? Then you know, like, because you can like look at this thing and see the rate at which it's going down. And you're like, okay, I know I have about 5 minutes of gameplay left before it turns dark, and you can use that to base your decisions on. So I want like something that's super clear. Yeah. Okay, so let's go with this one. And, you know, if it sucks, we can replace it. But this is a good starting point, I think. Okay, so that's a sketch. Let's make this a little bit more real. Right, so we've got two versions. One is like a sun and one is like a moon. Actually, I mean, I'm feeling pretty good about this. Here, let's nuke this. And then make a new layer. And then this is going to be the sun. You can't see me making the new layer because I sort of limited. So like, here's an interesting question. Like, what does the sun look like in Stonehearth, right? I'll tell you what it doesn't look like. It doesn't look like this, right? Which is kind of like, you know, traditional fantasy sun or something. Why? Because this is a circle, right? So, yeah, we're probably going to have a square sun, even though that's been done before. Yeah, sundial would be pretty cool. I thought about that, but it's hard to read too. Like I can't even read a real sundial, much less like a sundial collapsed into 2D, right? Okay, so like I'm thinking for the sun, it's going to be square. I know that Minecraft is a square sun, but it just works. It's cool. So we have a square sun too. Tony doesn't like the idea of a square sun. Oh no, he's complaining that we're out of latte. Well, we are out of latte. It's the hardship of being an indie game development studio. No one runs and gets the coffee. So we can do like, I don't know, something like this. Like I'm thinking to like, here, let's do this. Okay, and this is maybe like too high. So I'm thinking back to like, sort of the suns that you'll see like, in like, you know, those old like scrolls or Bibles that were like super painted up by the clergy of the day, or that, you know, you have these sort of super awesome rays coming out. Maybe we can do something like that, right? Maybe that's just totally overdoing it. Man, we got to figure that out. That's probably overdoing it, but maybe if they weren't like so out of control and big, right? Just something to say like, you know, there's like some kind of like sun thing going on here. Oh, that's not bad, right? Okay, so we can give the sun like a slight border. And this is totally a sketch. It's like not even, I know that these aren't right angles. We're going to turn it into something more real. And I'm going to use Photoshop. I should probably use Illustrator for something like this, but I'm not going to use Photoshop just because I'm much more familiar with that program and can work faster. Okay, maybe that's our sun. And maybe like, I don't know, it'll have like, it's kind of a squat sun, you know, maybe like these rays. Maybe like these rays can like go out, right, and sort of adorn this, and like we can do kind of like that and that. Now it's starting to look like a Zia, if you guys know what a Zia is. It's a Native American symbol for a sun, which is not exactly high fantasy, but okay, whatever. I'm screwing around with this a lot. Let's just like be happy and move on. Maybe not. I'm not happy. Okay, let's do something like that, and like that, and like that. One of you guys said, a couple of you actually said that you wanted to see me drawing something on stream, and after this stream, maybe you'll change your mind. But that's starting to look kind of sunnish, without looking like crazy weird. Oh, am I feeling better now? Now that Evo's done? Yes, I feel much better. Evo is awesome, but well, there are no buts. Evo is awesome. I guess the only but is that like Evo is kind of a something that we can just whip out. It takes a lot of work, but we know how to run it, and it's just more like the work to getting it done. And it's awesome, super awesome when you're there. But it's not exactly, I always like new challenges, right? And Stonehearth is a new challenge. Like we are working very hard to get it done, and every day, every week, like new things come up that we're like, well, how do we solve that? And the fun in engineering and just in working for me is in figuring that stuff out. So, yeah. So I'm very happy to get back to Stonehearth. So that's our sun. Now we need a moon. And it's going to be square too. Okay. I mean, we could like throw it off on a bias or something. How would that work? If like it was like tilted a little bit. No, that's silly. Maybe it's not too silly. But I want this thing to be like almost like it's like a crafted kind of gilded display of what's going on, right? So I want it to feel like it was like made, right? And let's do something. So this moon graphic can actually show the phases of the moon. That would be neat. And let's just, okay. So let's say, we'll do something like that, right? And this is going to be the dark side of the moon, right? And then maybe the moon can have not necessarily rays, but kind of like a small glow or something. And this is going to be like, done in sort of relief, right? But something, maybe we can make it sort of like that to hearken, whatever. These are tiny little details that are probably going to get lost. I'm just going to nuke them. Okay, so something simple, right? Okay, so we got a meter, and I want to chop it up. I want to have like, I want the meter to be broken up into specific intervals, because if it's just like a meter that slowly drains, it's going to be, I think, a little bit difficult to read. I'd rather have it like chunk out. So what's the right number of intervals? So, okay, 12 hours for day and night. Well, let's just say, sure, let's break it up into 2-hour increments. So that would make it 6 chunks. Let's try that. Let's just try it. So it's going to be like that, and then, that's roughly a fourth, and that's roughly a fourth. So, whatever. We can get exact when we move into Photoshop. Okay, so great. So that is our meter, and I said that we could get exact when we move into Photoshop. It's time to move to Photoshop. Okay, so I'm going to put all these in a group, which you can't see because all my controls are off canvas or off camera. Okay, now I'm going to open one of my design sheets. So I use like Photoshop mockups a lot, like a ton, for basically everything, just because it's a lot easier, obviously, to mock something up in Photoshop and then work on it rather than iterating constantly in code. And hey, look, you guys get to see a preview of what the crafting UI looks like. So this is something that I use, actually the whole UI. This is kind of a scratch pad for what the UI would look like when there's lots of stuff up. And you can see, like, eventually, if we're lucky, no, we're going to be lucky. Eventually we'll have things like the portrait of the selected guy, right? So this is a carpenter who's selected, and this is his workshop, and it's kind of incomplete, but you can see sort of the direction we're going for recipes, right? And crafting options and whatever. Okay, so I'm going to nuke all this stuff because it's not relevant right now. So get rid of the main bar, get rid of the crafting window, get rid of the unit frame. Okay, and this thing up here, this hourglass, can you see it? Yeah, just barely. Good. Is my first cut at a time indicator. Will daylight be longer in the summer and shorter in the winter? Yeah, Duke, that's something we can do eventually. I mean, right now, honestly, we're just working on getting time in the game, and then we can tweak those variables pretty easily. So yeah, you're right. That would be more realistic. So like the problem with this hourglass is the same problem that I had with some of your guys' suggestions, which is that it's so hard to tell like what the heck is going on. Like, okay, this is a full hourglass. So the idea is that, like, this was the day hourglass and sands drip down, and then when it's night it flips over and the sands turn blue or something. But like, it's so, you like the I like it too. I like it visually, Lemons, but it's I tried making the intermediate versions, and it's just really hard to read. It's like you would look at it, it's like that's kind of half full, but is it a third full or is it 2/3 full? I can't really tell, and you shouldn't have to like go through that kind of angst just when you want to know what time it is. Okay, so now we're going to take this group, that's our sketch, and we're going to size it down to be about the size that we want on screen. And it shouldn't be very big, which is hilarious. I mean, it should be kind of small, but I spent all that time on those like, little tiny details. Now they're going to get shrunk down to nothing. Okay, so get rid of the hourglass. This is our time meter. That's kind of big on screen, right? And now that I see it, maybe we should like flip it around, right? Maybe that's better. That probably is better, because now it's like sort of top aligned with the top edge of the screen, so we can do something like that. That feels like about the right size. So imagine this was like your game screen, and you just wanted this little thing to tell you what time it was. That seems pretty good, right? What do you guys think? That's too small. No, remember there's going to be like all kinds of other stuff on the screen. Like there's going to be this thing, and there's going to be like, not that one. There's going to be this thing, right? So like how much stuff do you want on the screen? A bit too small. I disagree. I'm going to convince you guys. I'm going to win you over. You'll see. Okay, so here's our moon. Here's our sun. Bring the opacity of our sun all the way back up. And I want to, like, now that I'm seeing this thing, I want to put the sun and the moon, like, over on the right. So that this thing is sort of now, yeah, something that is maybe like that. Although this thing is getting more and more generic. Maybe like something like that. But I want it to feel like, yeah, that it sort of is nestled into that corner, something like that. Now that it's sort of designed to live there. Okay, I'm going to blow this up so you can see it better. And so that I can see it better. Alright, what's the right size? That's about the right size. Yep. I like that. Okay, so there it is in the corner. Oh, you want the sun or moon to like slide along the frickin' meter? Whoops. Let's see. So like it would go like this. Maybe. We'll draw these as separate elements so we have the flexibility to play around with stuff like that. Okay, so these are our sketches. So I'm going to drop the opacity of these way down, and now we're going to start drafting this thing in Photoshop. And to do that, I'm going to move my window. And now you can't see it, but don't worry, I'll flip that. Okay, now you can see it again. So I don't need the Cintiq anymore, so I'm putting that away. And now I'm on my main monitor, just so I don't have to like crane my head. And we'll make this bigger, and we'll move it over. Can I move it over? Yes, I can. Okay. Alright, so there's our meter. Make it a little bigger. Yeah, the team just found out that the sun is square. Yeah. Alright, so, to put our square sun in the game. Alright, so what should this thing be? Should it be like, I guess each one should be themed, right? So we're gonna make the daytime one. Do we want to do that? Yeah, we want to do that. Okay. I'm just gonna pick some colors. I normally don't pick some. Yeah, it is sunny outside. It's beautiful sunny San Jose. Okay, so I'm just like defining the borders, not the borders. What are these things called? The outside, right? And here's a trick I like to do. I love Photoshop filters. So boink, right? Okay, that was enormous. Okay. So I just put a stroke filter on there, and now like if I need to like change the size of it, the stroke will go with it, right? Whatever. If you use Photoshop and you don't use filters, I suggest it. Just learn them. They're super easy once you figure out sort of the gist behind them. What am I going to call this thing? This is we'll call it the border, even though that's not a great name. Okay, now we need, you know what, I'm not going to go super crazy on this. I'm just going to get the elements right, and then I'll like obsess over what they look like later, because I don't want to bore you guys with me. Like, actually, maybe that's not boring for you. I don't know. Someone like just start all capsing when you get super bored. Okay, so now we need like our sort of decorations on the side, which is like, and to do that I'll just like make them and then shove them in. So let's pick like a slightly darker, you guys can't see my color picker, but it's not that important. It's like every other color picker on the planet. Okay, so we're going to take this, and I'm just going to draw it. Whoops, what did I do? Alright, that's better. Alright, whatever. Pixel art for the win. Okay, so this thing has a 3 pixel border, so let's just draw it on. Right, like that. Fill that. And then, let's see, it needs to go that far, and that far, and that far. And now let's move it over so that it's in the right spot, like that. Okay, let's get the size about right, so it's going to look kind of like that, and be about that big. And now I can get rid of my guides for now. The reason why I got rid of the guides was because, of course, I'm picking a lot of colors. Whoops. And if I pick colors when the guides are there, the guide changes the color that I'm picking and screws it up. Okay, and now I'm just sort of measuring to make sure that my little decoration is the same width as the bar, and I need to measure again. Whoops. I use marquees to measure. It's just a trick I picked up. Like, instead of counting pixels, you just like use the marquee, and okay, now I need this pixel to go right there. I don't know if you guys can see the marquee on stream. And then we can take a square of this stuff, and that is that thick, and that is that thick, and that is that thick, and now I know my thicknesses, right? So now I can just like whip it out, right? That goes like that, that goes like that. I'm sure there's a much faster way to do this stuff, but it's pixel art, and I like doing pixel art pixel by pixel. And that's what's kind of cool about actually working on the art for Stonehearth, is that like the models, or the characters are all 3D models and stuff, but the UI is inspired by pixel art, so it's not always pixely, but sometimes you get little elements like here that literally are, you know, pixel by pixel. Yeah, I messed that up. That's too big. So let's come down here and go 1, 2. There, now it should be the right size. So that's the same size, that's the same size, the same size as that. Everything is the same size as everything else. No sun goggles. Okay, so that's neat. How does this look? So one thing that I like to do is go Photoshop trick. You can like have 2 windows open of the same document, and then you can like move one over. So now, let's see if I can get this right. We'll move this window over here so you guys can see it. Move this one over here. Okay, so this is like my blown up version, and this over here is like the actual size version, so I can look at both at the same time while editing. And that lets me see that like this thing is kind of like unbalanced. It just looks unbalanced, and if I can compare it to my concept I guess was unbalanced too, but like we can do something like that to make it look just a little bit more elegant or something. Close enough, and maybe the whole thing needs to move over a little bit. Yeah, just to put it in the background a touch. Maybe like up. That's not bad. That's not bad. Okay, let's do that, and that, and that. Something like that. Yeah, I'm not feeling that. There. Okay, and it's probably too thick. Like, it doesn't look so much as like an embellishment as it does like a main part of the border, so I'm just going to reduce the width of everything. Whoops, what did I do? Too big, abort. Alright, put that there. Bring it on up. Alright, there we go. Okay. Let's get rid of the game window. That's not helping anybody. Alright. That's a little better. But I think this should be a square, this thing here, and it's not. Oh, it is. It's pretty close to a square. Why doesn't it look like a square? Alright, whatever. Whatever I said it should be. I'm changing my mind. Let's add like a little curly Q on that thing. Whoops. Something like that. That's better. I'm not thrilled, but we can... Here, why don't we just do this? Why don't we take it all the way down? That's not bad. And then I'm going to just cheat and compensate for that corner by doing that. That's not bad. That's good enough. We're feeling that. Alright, now I'm going to put the other one on the other side. Okay. That might be way too much. Goggles. You guys need to stop with the goggles. Only goggles when we're making characters. It looks a bit funny. I agree it looks a bit funny. I'm not like in the corners, less edge. You think less... What do you mean less edge? Like less border? So the idea behind this was just to like give it like a little bit of visual interest. It wasn't like to go totally crazy with it. Maybe I went way too crazy. It looks weird all the way down. Yeah, agreed. You know, maybe something like that. And I think that probably this guy is just too freaking thick. In fact, maybe we don't even need the border. I'm going to play around with no border. You'll see what I mean. Alright, so these are... Here. So these are my sides. Now I'm going to make the meter. And to do that, I'm going to nuke my border while I do this. I'm going to use a mask, just because it's a lot easier. So we'll mask this layer. You guys can't see any of this happening, sorry. And then we're going to pick a nice, light, sunny yellow. Because remember, this is the sun version, right? And fill it. Oops, wrong thing. Fill it. Nope, that's not it either. Wrong color. Here, I'll give you my color picker. There, now you can see my color picker. So I want like this to be bright, right? But not like ridiculously bright, because remember our rules on color picking for Stonehearth. We don't pick super bright colors for Stonehearth, because we were reserving the super bright colors for when like we really need something to pop, like a spell or a super important indicator or something like that. If you use bright colors from the start, then you sort of have nowhere to go when you need to make something really stand out or pop, because everything's super bright already. Okay, so alright, so that's the wrong color, but that's okay. I'm going to pick another color, which is going to be our highlight. And that one's going to be really bright. We can tweak colors later when we have the whole thing basically rendered. Okay. I'm going to change my border already. I know I want it to be something that's more neutral, but still kind of a bright color. Not bright, but I should say a warm color. So we'll pick something like really neutral. Fill that. Not that. Fill that. Yeah, and you can see these colors. Oh, Control S. Yeah, thanks. You know, I've never lost anything, but those are famous last words, right? I've never lost anything. I don't know why you guys want me to save all the time. And then boom. Oh, and check this out. Like, I'll show it to you later. It's not important yet. Okay, so now I need these dividers on my meter, right? Brush. Alright, so they aren't going to be black, but I'm going to draw it as black. Right, okay, so now we'll do it this way. Okay, so like, this thing is divided into 6 chunks, and I want it explicitly to be 6 chunks. So I'm going to draw like a divider here, but I want it to look like, this is like the dark edge of this block, and then the next block over has like a light edge on top of it, right? So it's like that, right? And then, I mean, this is like beveling 101. Anyone who does like, I guess, any kind of web or game UI elements has done this probably a dozen times, maybe a little more than a dozen, right? So, and using them as black and white is totally not the right thing to do, but we're just doing it to get the stuff on the screen, and then we will get the right colors later, right? Okay, so this is how we're going to make it look like it's sort of chunked up, and we got way too many. We only wanted 6. So how many do we have? We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so get rid of 2. And now this is like me being lazy. We're just going to guess. Is that 8? Yeah. I'm just moving all these over 8 pixels. Just making them 8 pixels fatter. Right? And how does that look? It looks okay. And now we'll do this. We'll take these, and these, and these, these, and these, and these, and move them over 8 pixels, and voila! And there's extra space. Guess what we're going to do about the extra space? We're going to get rid of it. I told you I was being lazy. So one at a time, go into this mask, and like nuke it. Oops, nuke it. Right, so now that's the right size. Now we're going to go to our border, chop it down. Okay, and now we'll go into our little side thingy, move it over. And voila, we have a meter. Yeah, work smart, not hard, right? I could have done like a bunch of algebra, not a bunch, but some algebra, and like figured out exactly what the right number was, and then like the meter would look like practically the same. It would be a tiny bit longer, and I would have just been a little bit more frustrated. So instead, okay, now I need to figure out what the right colors are for all this stuff. So we got that, and then let's find the color. So I want these things to look like kind of bright, not bright, but like self-effulgent, or like they emit their own light. So to make that happen, I don't want my shadows to be dark. I want them to be like a light color, or a saturated color, I should say. At least that's the plan. We'll see how it works. And if I was like really, really particular, I would use a different layer for my highlights and for my shadows. But I'm not that particular because I'm mostly concerned about getting this stuff in the game, and I just want it to look good enough so that I'm not embarrassed by it and sort of annoyed that it looks bad, if you know what I mean. Because once everything is good and functioning and working in the game, we'll be able to do another pass of just graphics, right? And I can do that like in relax, knowing that the stuff actually works. Okay, so whoops, wrong layer. Okay, that's not horrible. This color is horrible. I want it to be kind of like a that's too much. Okay, so here's like a trick I learned. Self-taught. I know, it's amazing, right? Okay, so I want like a color between this light color and this dark color, right? So to do that, I'm going to fill in the light color, and then I'm going to take my dark color and I'm going to use the fill bucket, but like at 40% opacity, and then be like, is that the right one? No, I want a little darker. So I'll go down to like 30% opacity and fill it again, right? And that looks pretty good. Yeah, that's right. Right, so it just lets me like, without like go between those colors without picking again and again and again. And like, in case you didn't figure out what I was saying, I go to like 40% opacity by hitting 4 on my keyboard. And if this was too dark, I pick the light color and just like fill, fill, fill. Okay, that's the right one, right? So let me undo those. Right. Okay, so great. That's neat. All right, one thing that I'm also finding out is these bright side pieces are not happening, right? So I'll use the same trick. Yeah, because we want the meter to pop, and I want that border to be a lot darker. So, you know, same trick again. There. Okay, that's getting there. Now I can see that like the meter pops. It looks kind of sunny a little bit. I know that my side pieces need a little bit of a... Okay, now's the time to tell you. Yeah, layers are great too for this kind of stuff. Okay, so, oops. Like I think I obsess actually a little bit about making the UI for Stonehearth not look so generic. Like I want it to have something unique about it. Like one thing that I really loved about Borderlands, I guess not I don't know how many people picked up on this, but the Borderlands UI is like super slick in terms of the way that it just presents information. Like nothing is stock. Like if you look at like your OS, like Windows or Mac OS or something, like everything is sort of made out of nested rectangles. And the Borderlands UI does not do that. Everything is like super custom made. And I want to have Stonehearth have a little bit of that to it, right? So, you know, obviously, you know, the UI is not the most important thing, but I want it to be, you know, special. So, the thing that I've sort of hit upon, or the idea that I'm going to try it out, let's get rid of that. No, that's the one I wanted to show, is that like everything is in perspective a little bit, but it's an isometric perspective. Like you can see the bottom edge of this like slate, right? And if I can show you the crafting window. Where's the crafting window? Come on, man. Get with the program, right? So here's the crafting window. So like you can see like the bottom edge and everything is in this isometric perspective, right? Just to give it like something, right? And it's consistent. Like you can see the perspective on the nails. Yeah, and I don't know if this is going to end up working out, but it's working out so far, so we're going to go for it. So my meter is not in that perspective, which is not good. And it looks like I accidentally moved stuff around, which is really too bad for me. Let's see if I can hit the undo stack and fix it. Did that do it? No. Did that do it? No. How about that? Okay, that's too far. Alright, there we go. Okay. So I need to put this thing in that same perspective. And I didn't want to do it until I had like a design. And now I have kind of a basic design, so we can do it. So first, let's work from the outside in. So we got these little side pieces, and they need some kind of perspective, which means we need a darker color. Whoops. Because this is the edge, this is in shadow, right? And we're just gonna like go there, and there. And now move that. Just copy it and move it down so that, okay, great. And then those of you who have been around for a while know that like I like to have a little bit of a bright edge on the edges, on the top edges of my stuff. So we'll see if that works on something this small. I never did it on a tiny little element like this, but let's give it a shot, right? So something like that. I don't know. That's super subtle. I don't know if anyone's going to see that, but I see it. And it makes a difference for me. And if I'm not happy, really, how can I expect anyone else to be happy? Okay, so that was easy. Let's do the same thing for our border. And this is going to be really dark, right? Because the border itself is already pretty dark. So we'll just go like that, just make it bigger, and then fill it black. And even though it's like almost the same, it's maybe too dark there, something like that. That didn't work. All right, instead of filling black, I'm going to make the other side lighter. Yeah. And I'm using the same trick as usual, right? With the filling to some percentage opacity. Now let's take our first side, dupe it, mirror it, put it back. Okay, so we're starting to get that sense of depth. And now we have to do it for the meter. And the meter, it's going to be pretty easy to do. We'll take this and go like, whoops, I thought it was going to be easy to do. I lied, because I got these divider things. So these guys need to move up. Whoops, move them higher up, like that. And then move the whole show up, because it's kind of like, I don't know if I like that. Let's keep it down. Okay, and now here for my meter, this needs to be a darker. Go back to 100%. That, and then something like that. Wow, that's getting washed out like big time. All right. Maybe we won't have these things sit up. In fact, maybe we won't even like segment it. No, I like the segmenting, but we're just not gonna mess with it too much because we could like totally get obsessive about this. All right, whatever. This is like a C, maybe like a C minus, but it's functional, so we're gonna keep it because, like I said, you know, this is the kind of thing where we do something that is pretty good enough where it's not embarrassing to see it on the screen, and then we'll clean it up after the thing is functioning. Like one thing that I've learned to do is to flip-flop between left brain, right brain quite a bit, because of course I have to code this stuff. Okay, great. So what have we got? We've got our meter, and let's drop the size of this thing so you can see it sort of relatively. So on screen it's going to be about that big. And there's a sun and a moon, and I'm going to forget about the sun and the moon for now because it's just decoration, which is going to be easy to add later. Okay, so I'm going to duplicate this file. First I'm going to save the old one and close it. Now I've got my duplicate, and I'm going to crop. Can you even see this stuff? Yeah. Okay, you're useless. Goodbye, son. Alright, you're useless. Alright, so here's our meter in its own little Photoshop file. I'm going to crop it to be exactly the size that I need. Right? And now it is time to chop this guy up. Okay, so I'm going to duplicate it so that I don't accidentally do something bad. We'll get rid of the meter. We'll get rid of the dividers. And this is like the base, right? So this is our base slate. Actually, let's just make different meter images. So, okay, hold on. I need an empty meter. Here, okay, let's merge that into that. Apply. Okay, so there's our meter on and off. So I need an empty version of this thing. And then we're going to have graphics for the different phases of the meter. Okay, so here's the empty version. Really? There. And to give it some thickness, we'll do this, something like that. Oh, well, I think I messed this up. Did I mess it up? Let's see. I'm not falling in love with this thing, but I don't have to love it yet. I just have to like it. It's the beginning of the relationship. Okay, so this is. I actually want. This is fine. Okay, so I'm going to save this as an asset. And where am I going to save it? I'm going to save it in my source tree. which is in Stonehearth source, Stonehearth data. Okay, and if you can see all these directories right here, this Radiant, Stonehearth Calendar, Stonehearth Carpenter Class, Stonehearth Classes, all this stuff, each one of these is a mod, just like the mods that you'll write. Like literally, these are mods. And the mod I'm working on is called the Stonehearth Calendar mod. The calendar mod does timekeeping and stuff like this. So real soon now, we're going to start writing a mod, and won't that be exciting? So I'm going to make a new folder called Images, and I'm going to call this the day meter, or let's call it meter 0. And the reason why I'm picking that name will be clear soon. Meter 0. Okay. And now I'm going to make a bunch of other ones. So we're going to nuke this guy. We're going to come in here and say half of a bar, and we're going to call this. This is going to be real exciting for you guys this next like minute and a half or so. That's meter 1. Okay. Now we're going to undo. This is scintillating, right? Nuke. Oops. Not that one. Undo. Nuke that one and call that meter 2. Undo that. Remember, these are placeholder images. Meter 3. Oh, glad you liked Evo. Thanks. I liked Evo too. The funny thing about Evo is that you plan for as long as you can, and you want to make sure that you can control all the things that you have control over. So, like, control, like, make sure all the TVs work and you don't have an electrical outage. Make sure that, you know, the schedule is tight and people don't have conflicts. All this logistical stuff, and then it comes down to like the matches, and at that point it's out of your hands. Either you're going to get good matches or you're not. And we have been, I mean, one thing that's amazing about Evo, okay, great, is that the matches are like almost always amazing, which is like kind of a testament to the players and how hard they work and how badly they all want to win. And this year, like, there were some crazy matches. Especially, like, really, in almost every tournament, there were, like, some crazy good matches where you were like, I can't believe that just happened. Which is one of the main reasons why we still do it, is to see that great stuff. I think I just screwed up that file name. No, I didn't. Great. Yeah, so, glad you liked Evo. Tune in next year. And for those of you guys who missed it, if you want to see what all the hubbub is about, you can go to our archives and see the whole thing. Twitch.tv/SRKEvo1. Wow, I'm making a lot of images here. But I only have 3 more to go, and then we can do something that's actually interesting. 9, so there's 10. Here's 11. Okay. And finally, here's 12. Alright, so at the end of the day, I've got a whole bunch of images, right? Right. Okay. Now what do I do? Let's use them. Okay. Bye-bye Photoshop. We don't need Photoshop anymore. Yeah, Justin Wong's the man. Okay. Let's run the game. Let's run the game and show you some code. So this is Dakota. Dakota is an open source Lua debugger, which we have customized to use with Stonehearth. So I can actually debug my mod, which is written in Lua, from Dakota. Oh, the game's already running, silly me. Okay, so here's the game. And this right here, up here, is the UI portion of our calendar mod. Let me just show you around the calendar mod so you know what the heck is going on. So this is Sublime, which is just an awesome text editor, and the core of my mod is right up here. Okay, here, this is placeholder code. Let's do that. Okay, so this is just. Can you guys see the text, or do I have to make it bigger? Ear goggles, you guys. Yes, you can see the text. Great. Okay, so what you're looking at is a Lua file, which gets loaded by the game, and this is just a whole mess of constants. These are the horrible names of our months because I didn't want to use January, February, March. Okay, so let's look at like the interesting part of this. Okay, so here you can see that this. So the purpose of this module is to keep track of time. It watches time go by in the game and translates that time into a calendar with hours, minutes, months, days, years. That's what this thing does. That's what this mod is doing. Okay, and to do that, it's going to listen on the game loop event. So the game loop event fires every time the game goes through a loop, and it's basically a clock that ticks up, 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 up. Okay. And then what it does is it's saying, okay, when this event fires, call this function, this onEventLoop function of me on the Stonehearth calendar. Okay, and here's the definition of this function. Okay, and all it's doing is a mess of math, like to take this now thing, right, and populate this date object, which is defined up here, which is just a table, right? So we're saying that this date object has a whole bunch of properties which have all the information the UI or other modules would ever want to know about the time, right? So it's got like the second, so think of second as the second on the clock, the minute on the clock, the hour on the clock, and if you've ever taken a CS class, you probably are familiar with this mod div pattern. It's super basic. And then it's got an hour, the day, the month, the year, and then it's got this sort of pretty printed time and date, right? And this time and date string is what's being displayed here, right? So this 10, 50, or 11, 01, whatever. The reason why minutes don't pass, like, why time is passing so quickly is because just for debugging, I've made time pass more quickly, right? And that's day 22 of Bittermun, the year 1000, whatever. That's that pretty printed string. Okay, so that's the mod. So all this does is keep track of time, right? That's it, and it's got and it has this one function to get data out, which is get the date. Okay, so you can call this function to get the date. Now I have another Lua file called getDate, which is feeding data to the UI, which is what we're about to use. So you can think of this as really almost like a PHP script or something sitting on a web server. Okay, so when this Lua file is invoked, it returns getDate. What does getDate do? GetDate call requires the Stonehearth calendar mod, which is the mod we were just looking at, and then calls the getDate function. Right? That getDate function is right here. So that thing is going to return date, and date is the object that we were populating with all these properties. Okay. Okay. So now here's the cool part. So that's neat, right? So I've written a mod and I've extended Stonehearth with some new data. This is Tom. Hi guys. And this is literally, I don't know what Kerbal is. Sorry, I think I'm proving my ignorance. This is literally a mod, right? Like you could have done the same thing if we didn't have a clock in the game. I'm not using anything special. I'm writing a Stonehearth mod. Now what? Now the cool part. Okay, so way on the other end of the spectrum, this is a bit of HTML. It's a handlebars template file. Okay, so those of you who are familiar with HTML will believe me when I say it's just HTML. Okay, so I've got this div, which is a clock, and okay, let's ignore this. Doink. Wait, really? Yeah. Okay. So anything that's in these double curly braces means spit out the contents of that variable. Okay. So I have one div that's called time, right? And I'm spitting out the time variable, and I have one variable called, or this guy is spitting out the date variable. These are properties of this time and this date are properties of the object that I built up in this calendar mod. And let me show you how that works. Okay, so this is Ember. Check out Ember. Just Google Ember.js if you want to know how Ember works. This is what we use to build our UI. And what's the right thing to do? Okay, so basically this is a class that is responsible for managing, it's the Stonehearth calendar view class, responsible for managing that bit of HTML that gets spit onto the screen up here. Okay, so all it does is this init function is like its constructor. I don't even need this. So when you are constructed, when the calendar goes onto the screen, poll. Well, what does poll do? It does an AJAX request to that Lua file that I was talking about before, this Stonehearth calendar mod, and then the Lua file in it. Okay, and then blah blah blah, and then when it gets data back, it sets the context. The context is just like, what are you looking at? It's the data you're looking at. It sets the context to the return, the data that it got back from that AJAX call. Okay, and then it says poll again in a second. Now, what is this data? That data is the output of this getDate Lua file, right? When it's invoked. And what's that? Well, that's like this, right? It's the return of this getDate thing, right? And remember, that is this date object that we're populating with minutes, seconds, and hours, right? And whatever else. So, I mean, I know I'm going a little bit fast, but if you think about what's going on one end of the universe, way sort of in the guts of the game, I'm defining this new object called date, okay? And by listening to events in the game, I'm populating that object called date, okay? And then I'm spitting it out in this file, okay? getDate.lua. Now, way on the extreme other end of the universe, out in the UI, I am consuming that object called date and spitting out two variables from it, date.time and date.date, which should probably be renamed to something else. And that's how this gets onto the screen, right? And I can prove it to you. Well, not that you need proof, but like something that's very easy for me to do is I can go spit out like the raw information. So spit out hours. So I can say like, I can say hours, spit out the hours, and then I can go, well, it's minutes, spit out the minutes, right? And I can even go like seconds. I think I export seconds, spit out the seconds, right? Okay, and when I do that, okay, now here's the fun part. Let's see if I can get this to work. That's close enough. Okay, so I'm going to open a browser window, a completely ordinary browser window, nothing up my sleeve, and I'm going to go to localhost :1338. Nope. Localhost 1338. Okay, and this is a special port that you can listen on to debug Stonehearth. And this is using DevTools, the embedded sort of web app debugger in Chrome. And when I click this link, I've now attached a debugger to the embedded browser running in Stonehearth. And this is like our log. Okay. So if I hit F5, it's going to refresh the browser, and you're going to see like the UI blank out and come back. So here we go. Hit F5, boink, da-da-da-da-da. Right. Okay. And I screwed something up. You can see like I have our HTML here, but my hours, minutes, and seconds are like empty, which is fantastic. Why is that? Let's see. Well, I can debug it. Let's just debug it rather than guess. Okay, so I can come in here and I can go to sources, and I can look at the calendar source, and I can examine this data object. And this data object has a day, an hour, a minute, a month. Huh. It should have time. Yeah, there's time. There's the time string. There's a month name. Where's date? There's date. The day 24 Bitterman 1000, right? So why isn't this working? This should work. Hour, minute, second. Did I add an S? Yeah. Okay, that's the problem. It's hour, minute, and seconds. Let's find out. What was it? It's hour, minute, second, and I misspelled minute. Second, right? So okay, so great. Now I think I've debugged. I can like get rid of that breakpoint, hit F8 to continue, and then bring up the game, bring up the browser, so you can, and now hit F5 to reset the browser, and boom, right? Cool, right? How cool is that? What's the point? He's trying to explain a ton of code to the viewers. Yes. Was there controversy? Oh. Alright. Anyway. How cool is this? I can expose an object in a mod in Lua and pretty easily, with a little bit of boilerplate code, but not much, like, have it show up in the UI. Like, that's cool, right? And it's just HTML. So I can go to, like, CSS, and I can say, okay, for this time thing, okay, so, like, let's go back to our HTML. We got this div called time, right? If I want to make it like red, I can go to my CSS, also in the Stonehearth calendar mod, and say, you know, your color is red. I hate doing that. So your color is red, and then go back to hello computer. Go back here, hit F5, right? Because it's just HTML and CSS and JavaScript. Neat, right? No applause. All right. Okay, so that's neat, but that was just playing around. Let's do something for real. Let's go back to our template and nuke all this stuff. Okay, that's not useful. This was nice, but it's not really useful. We're gonna just comment it out. We're not gonna delete it just yet. And now we're gonna come in here and we're gonna say we need an image, and that image ID is equal to meter. We'll call it clock meter, and your source is equal to slash. We need to find the right source for that. Hold on. Let me look at one of my other mods and figure out how the pathing works. I forget. Stonehearth Crafter, HTML. Okay, so where's my image? Okay, great. So it's like that. Okay, got it. So we're gonna put this as Stonehearth calendar. Yeah, calendar HTML images. And where do we save this stuff? We saved it to Stonehearth calendar HTML images, and then meter 0 is the right background. Right, so we'll do that. And that's that. Okay, now when I refresh, we should see the clock meter. Yeah, great. There's our meter. And that's a bummer. Alright, I'll have to do something about that. I know why it's blinking. It's because I'm resetting the context and the whole template's re-rendering. Let's see if we can fix that. Instead of setting the whole context, all I really care about, let's do this. So we'll say this dot context. That, just an empty object, and let's try not blowing away the whole context. Can we do this? Context.date .calendar. Let's give it a shot. Okay, that didn't work. You must use Ember set. I am. Oh, right. This dot set context to be an empty object. Did that work? Yes, that seemed to have worked. Okay. Excuse me. Let's see, make sure that I can still get data by dumping calendar dot date below this meter. Do you guys understand what I just did there? Like blowing away the whole context? Yeah, it looks like it worked. Yeah. Blowing away the whole context caused the entire template to re-render, which caused the div to be like reset, and then the image would go out and come in and go out and come in. So instead of blowing away the whole context, I just did like a quick layer of indirection. Okay. Now, the trick is that we need to bind. We need to change this meter based on the time of day, the hour of day. Okay, so to do that, we're going to make a new function. This is all Ember BS, which you can learn by learning Ember or just looking at our code when we release the game. But if you want to get a jump on things, learn Ember. I can make a new function called update. Function. And I can say that this observes. Where's observes? Really? I am still learning Ember myself, so syntax sometimes gives me problems. Okay, so observes context calendar. Let's go console log. Actually, I only want to do this when, let's say, the hour changes. Actually, here, let's just go overkill. Just whenever the calendar changes. I'm paranoid, so I like stick debugging statements every place. Okay, and then we want to change the image. So we can grab like, this is jQuery. We can grab our clock meter and set its source attribute to be stone. Here, I gotta copy paste this. Oh God. Yeah, fantastic. Boom. So this is why I named those files in that way. I can just shove. I can get the right meter by doing a self.get context.calendar.hour. This is way too long. There. Yeah. Yeah. Nope. Is he there? You see him? I'm gonna throw something at him. Where is he? No, he's not there. Alright. Let's see what happens. I'm going to dump the hour. Just to make sure. It should start off 0. Alright, what the heck? Let's find out. Let's see what happens if I do this. Object has no method get on Stonehearth calendar.js, line 26. What did I do? What did I do? Self. Right, because that should be this, not self. And that should be this. Wow, it's really weird coding with the font so large. I feel like, I don't know. It's just weird. What did I do? 404. Hey, look! It worked. Okay, now what did I do wrong? The hour is 17. That's not right. Is the hour 17? Yes, because, okay, so, yeah, that's hilarious. Okay, Right. Let's go make a bunch more images, just for fun. Man, did I save that meter? I did save the meter, right? Alright, here's what we're going to do. So I need meters for like all 24 hours of the day, and I only have meters for half of the hours of the day, so we're just going to like do this. We're going to, oh, like I did save it. Great. I feel better. Okay, so we're going to change the hue of this meter to be like blue. God, this is horrible. Whatever, something like that. Drop the saturation down. I don't know, that's close enough. Do the same thing with the dividers. Right, make them bluish. Okay, whatever. So that's our moon meter. Isn't that nice? We'll duplicate this. It looks kind of sickly. I'm not really happy with it, but we know how this is going already, right? Okay. Apply. Okay, so now this guy, we're going to go backwards this time, is going to be, this would be meter, we went 0 to 12, so this would be 23, right? Okay, and then I should have gone backwards the first time. This is way faster. This is going to be meter 22. Count with me. Alright, I think I can do two things at once, so if anybody has a good question while I'm doing like this stupid boring stuff, don't change the hue, just have the pieces start disappearing from the front onward. No, because the idea is that the big moon's going to come up and this is the moon meter. Wait, oh, this is horrible. I totally messed this up. Hold on, because the moon meter should... Oh, I think I messed up everything. Hold on. Ha! Oh, that's hilarious. My images are totally wrong. I want the meter to deplete as you get closer to night. Alright. Hold on. Here's what we're going to do. Let me think about this. So 0 is midnight, right? In midnight, okay, so when does it get dark? Let's have it get dark at 9. And 9 is 18. Right? So this would be meter 18. Okay, now we're just gonna like have it like go down. So as it depletes, and it depletes this way, because it's like the moon is like, I can't point to the screen, but the moon is on the right edge, right? So then this would be, it's gonna deplete. So this would be 19. Right, and then every hour we're just gonna like chip away. This would be 20. Okay, this would be 21. Whoops. Okay, this would be 22. Whoops. No. This would be 23. And we're 0 base, so there is no 24. Okay, so now, hold on. No. I'm trying to find where I stored those files. Radiant. Stonehearth. Source. Stonehearth data. Stonehearth calendar. HTML. Images. Alright, let's fix this stuff. Let's do this, guys. Let's do this. Okay, so starting at 8 o'clock, which is 18, that's the start of the night, right? Okay. So the start of the night is 8 o'clock, which is 18. And then we go 19. Whoa, okay, yeah, and it goes down a little bit. Then we go to 20, it goes down some more, 21, 22, 23. Okay. Okay, so I need to go... Again, I'm going to like try to avoid doing math. And just like do that. Okay, and now we can start over from 0. How many does this have? This has 1, 2, 3 and a half. Okay, this is 1, 2, 3 and a half. Great. So now this is 0, which is midnight. That's meter 0. There's meter 1. We'll just keep on going. There's meter 2. Oh, by the way, there's like, in the end, when I do this, I'll probably layer it. There's meter 3. So I'm not redrawing like the meter in every single one of these. I'll just have like the little chiclets. Because then if I change the way that the background looks, I don't have to do it like in all of them. And I just screwed up the name on both of those. This should be meter 2, not O2. This should be meter 3. Okay. And what did meter 3 look like? 1.5. So 1 is meter 4. Okay. 1/2 is meter 5. Okay, nothing, let's say, is meter 6. Now, okay, now we can come in here and we can say, yeah, see, these are like totally messed up. Okay, so, because, okay, this is meter 7. Oh, great. Alright, so we'll do it this way. So like, now maybe it might make sense to like, because the bar starts out empty, it might make sense for it to gradually fill up and then drop down again. But I'm going to go with this and see how it feels. It's going to be easy enough to change the images. Okay, now it needs to like, okay. This is my problem. Can I open this that way? I can, great. So flip it horizontally, because it needs to drain. Okay, and this is now, how far did we get? To 7. This is 8. Okay, now the one with 2 bars gone. Oh man, I hate doing this. This is meter 9. Okay, the one with 1.5. This. Okay, let's just. What? Cancel. Get rid of that. No. Get rid of that. No. Okay, so when the one with 1.5 gone is 7, 8. What, really? 7, 8. Where'd my 9 go? Okay, so I need the one with 1 gone, which is this one. That's 9. I don't know why I didn't. How I screwed that up. Okay. Go away. The one with 1.5 gone. I just realized that these are going to look wrong, but it's okay, they're placeholder. Because the bevels are screwed up. 8, 9. Okay. So that's 10. Okay, that's 1.5 gone. So the one with 2 gone is 11. The one with 2.5 gone is 12. One with 3 gone oh man, I lost count. How far did we get? Is 12? No, I missed one again. That's 1.5. That's 2. It should be 13. Where's the one with 2.5 gone? That's 1, 1.5, 2, 2.5. Okay, so that's 1/2, 1, 1.5, 2, 2.5 is 12. Now I just did 3, so I went, wait, really? Was 12 already here? It said I couldn't save. There's no 12. Why can't you save? Oh, wrong one. Is there a 12 here? No, there's no 12. Why can't you save? Could not save because the document is currently open. You're a liar. No, you're not. It's right there. Alright. I don't know why. I'm confused. But that's okay. Meter 12. Okay. Alright, let's go back and re-examine. Alright, so starting from 6, we're good. We know we're good. Full minus 1/2, minus 1, minus 1.5, minus 2, minus 2.5, minus 3. Okay. And then we get to full. It drops down. Drops down, drops down, drops down, drops. Whoops. What do we do? Okay, great. So we're doing well, and 14 is going to have 2.5 left. Okay, let's close some documents so we don't need any more. Okay. So we go to the one that has 2.5 left, and that is this one, and that's 14. Isn't game development a blast? Okay. Now we go to the one that has 2 left, and that's 15. Oops. Now the one that has 1.5 left is 16. Oh, by the way, look up there. It's actually working now. Sorry, I pointed at my screen again. Okay, the one that has 1 left, and these don't line up. That's fantastic. The one that has 1 left is 17. The one that has 1/2 left is orphaned, so we're going to call it meter what the F. Okay, now let's look and see how we screwed it up. What did we do? I don't think I need these empty meters. 6 is 6 a.m., right? Yeah, so I don't need that. That's 7 a.m. That's 8 a.m. That's 9 a.m. Yeah, I mean, it makes more sense for at 9 a.m. for the sun meter to be rising rather than for it to be 3/4 full. I mean, it makes sense both ways, but I guess the way I'm doing it now is kind of the programmery way. Whatever. Let's not make any snap judgments. 15, 16, 17. No, 13 to 16 is not going to fly. 14. Wait, really? 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. 14. Well, that's not right. I need 1.5. Where's 1.5? 1.5. I don't have a 1.5. Yes, I do. It's right here. That. 14. 15 is 1.5. Okay. 14, 15, 16. Yeah. Now we're good. That's 17. 16 is the only one I'm missing, which is 1 right there. That is 16. Okay. Now, let's see what we got. So let's go back to our template and do some debugging. So I want the time here. Calling this calendar makes no sense. Let's call it date, because that's what it's called in the API. So we're going to call this date, and we're going to call this date, and we're going to call this date, and this is date. I should have just done global search and replace, but I didn't. Alright, so that's good. I think we're in good shape. I'm feeling good about this. Alright, so we're going to do that, and then we're going to go, just for luck, just to make it absolutely clear what's going on, we're going to print out the hour to the screen too. And this is now completely obsolete. We can nuke it. No, I like the date. We're going to leave it. Alright, now we're going to go F5. And all is going to be well. Right? It's 4 p.m., which is 16 o'clock. What? Cannot perform operations on a metamorph that is not in the DOM. What did I do? Well, I went to the moon at 16 o'clock. Or, sorry, at 6 p.m. What did I do? Yes, turn on the counter, line 26. Line 26, but that's just, you couldn't mean 26, could you? No, you don't really mean 26. Cannot perform operation on a metamorph that is not. What's a metamorph? Anybody know what a metamorph is? Hey, my chat's broken. I just realized my chat's been broken for the past, like, hour. Let's see if we can refresh chat. Sorry, guys. Oh, great. Twitch. Alright, I don't get it. So I'm getting this error, and I'll figure out what that is. But, like, look, our meter's working. It is. Look at the stream, man. They are depleting. Why is it depleting? Yeah, okay, so this widget is a failure because Tony doesn't understand how it works. There's like a day clock, right? There's a day meter, and the day meter depletes until you run it a day, and then it switches to a night meter, and then the night meter depletes. Well, it's going to be on the right. It's on the left. Yeah, Tony made a good point. Because time is passing. You run out of day as time passes. Hold on, hold on, hold on. Let's move this thing over to where it should be because I think it's confusing everybody. So this guy should be on the right. And how do we move to the right? We change the CSS. That's it. Alright, so I just changed the CSS. I come in here. I refresh the browser. Right. Boom, it's on the right. See? Yay. Okay, look, and now the night meter fills up. The 15th image is wrong. Let's fix the 15th image. What barrel? There's no. You mean the? It's hard to read. Sundials are hard to read. 14. Yeah, 15's jacked. You're right. What do you mean? Why is the sundial hard to read? I want a meter. I'm talking to Tony if you can't hear him in the background. I want a meter because it's super easy to tell what's going on. Then maybe like the meter needs to be like much smaller. There, now it's fixed. Yeah, but I'd have to shift everything. I can do that. That's cool, but I have to shift everything. Wait, no I don't. You're right, I don't have to shift anything. Wait, you want me to move it? You want me to actually move an image? How do I clip? Oh, I clip in a div. Okay. Plan B. Hey, but look, hold on. Before we move on, I want to point out that... What do you mean 17's broken? Come on, man. No! 17! Alright. Alright, now. Do all these drain. Yes, I believe I got them all. Let's look. Let's just watch. Look. It's 12 a.m. It's noon. It does look weird that it's noon, which is kind of the middle of the day, and the meter is like, yeah. Before we throw this whole thing out, I want to point out, that it's working beautifully. Look. This is live coding, people. This is live coding, and it works. That's like one level even beyond the live demo. Like, when you've got the thing recording secretly in the background. Look at that. See? Now it's nighttime. It's 6 o'clock in nighttime, so we'd have to fix that. But look, now night is going to drain away. Right? See? Look at that. Look at it drain. Yeah, Legends. That's what we're gonna do. Except it's not gonna be a rotating disc. It's gonna be a scrolling barrel, because the disc is a circle, and this is Stonehearth, so everything's a square. Man, we have a new plan. How am I gonna do this? Alright, barrels are circles, so this is a square barrel. Okay, so our new plan is to have this meter not be a meter, but instead be like sort of a ribbon that, yeah, there'll be a line in the middle of the bar. It's going to be a ribbon that has kind of like a skyscape. Yes. Legends, that's what we're doing. Except don't think of it as a disc. Think of it as like a ribbon wrapped around a barrel and you spin the barrel. It'll look like that. No, you guys can't like the meter. You can't like the meter. You're not allowed to. Yeah, Legends, we got the idea. What's the point? It'll look cooler. It'll look a lot cooler because we can do things like, because it's a skyscape, we can draw like stars and stuff. Yeah. Yeah, you know what? We're probably going to do both. I like this idea of a meter. I like the idea of something like ticking down, but we'll probably do it with like little tiny like lights or something at under the ribbon. Why not just have time go up? Yeah, yeah, yeah. I get it. Why don't you keep the bar, have individual graphics for sun and night on the blocks, and have it continuously feed so it's never. That's exactly what we're talking about. Oh, you Googled my error? What is it? Thanks. Let's figure out what I'm doing wrong here. Hold on. What did I do? Cannot perform operations on a metamorph that is not in the DOM. It is extremely frustrating. But wait, I'm not doing anything like this. Whatever, let's see. I'm pretty sure this is actually not a bug. And that these issues stem from the unusual and unsupported architecture of your app. No. Wow. Appending or replacing existing view is now explicitly disallowed, but I'm not appending or replacing anything. It's okay. I know how to work around this. I think they don't want you programmatically changing the DOM, and I know how to work around that. So whatever. Thank you though. Please don't be porn. Please don't be porn. Yeah. All right. You know what? I know what I have to do for this ribbon, but I've been at this a while, so I am going to take a deep breath, think about this some more, and then we'll come back to it. There's another stream tomorrow, and in that stream, it'll be time part 2. Oh, by the way, this is a debug world in case you hadn't figured it out already. We use these tiny little debug worlds to test isolated pieces of functionality, and to so we don't have to load like gigantic worlds which take a couple of seconds to load, which when you're restarting the game over and over again adds up. And it's got like little debugging. This is Pathfinder debug information, and here's our man. Hey man. Hi cutie. Right. So we will have another stream tomorrow, and on that one I'm going to make these guys fall asleep. Now that we have the concept of time, we can do that, right? We have a clock here that this is some debug information, by the way. We have a clock, and we can pop UI into that clock. And since we have a clock, we can make these guys get sleepy as time passes. And then when it's time to go to sleep, they'll fall asleep, and I'll be doing a lot of animating. And then if we get far enough, I'll work on the mod that makes them fall asleep, and we'll get to see him do that, and it's going to be awesome. Give them a name that will come up in the game. Arma and they do have names. It's just we're reworking that part of the code right now, so for now, you don't see anybody's name. But check out our YouTube videos that some of the YouTube Let's Player guys have done, and you can see they all have names. Okay, thanks guys. I'll see everybody tomorrow. If I can find the button to turn this thing off.